Hey, good evening, everybody. We're going to talk about the big versus the job guarantee. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term big, it's basic income guarantee. And we have been debating it. I know that there's two schools of thought here, two schools of economic thought within the monetary sovereignty and MMT communities. The MMT world believes in the job guarantee, and the monetary sovereignty side believes in the basic income guarantee. And I know many throughout history have talked about the basic income guarantee. And hello, Rawa. But what I want to talk about is how we can look at, once we realize that taxes don't fund spending at the federal level, we can start looking at what our priorities are. And we can start looking at different ways of doing different things. It's not an all or nothing proposition. For those of you who are not familiar with the job guarantee, the federal job guarantee, making the federal government the employer of last resort, otherwise known as ELR, is something that the modern monetary theory side of the shop believe very strongly in for a host of reasons, and all of them make very, very good sense. We're not talking about make work, busy work. We're talking about quality work. We're talking about providing jobs that set a minimum standard for all the other companies. So if you know that you can go to work for the federal government and you can get your benefits and you can get a wage, a living wage, and you can have quality investment opportunities through a 401k or through a pension, that's going to set the new basement for all the other free market private sector jobs. So if they can't meet the basic level of the federal job guarantees work standards, then you don't have to go work for them. You can hold them, and if they want to hire you, if they want to lure you away from your federal job guarantee, they have to actually sweeten the pot. They have to make your working conditions better for you to walk away from that. That's a pretty good thing, isn't it? So once you understand, again, taxes do not fund spending, now you can prioritize what you want to do with that knowledge. So now on the other side is the monetary sovereignty side. And the School of Monetary Sovereignty, which I also subscribe to, because MMT and monetary sovereignty are really very close to one another in all but prescriptions. They really do focus on almost exactly the same macroeconomic realities. The only difference is that they focus on how to enact a base level for society. The monetary sovereignty believes, like I said, in the basic income guarantee. Basic income guarantee provides every citizen a certain level of a participation value, some sort of a stipend or a check every month or however often it comes, that provides you with income no matter what. Now, you'll hear some libertarians even talk about this as a potential way of getting rid of welfare and everything else. And I'm not a fan of welfare. I truly believe in citizen benefits. And I believe that if you do that, then there's a lot of things that happen naturally. People start being able to take care of themselves by going to the doctor, by being able to take care of their education, etc., without worrying about where the money's coming from. You're going to see an incredible amount of change in this country for the better. But one of the big concerns I have structurally with the federal job guarantee is this. I like the idea of working for my money. I like the idea of having meaningful work by which I can wake up in the morning and throw myself into. But what I don't like is if the country is FUBAR, if there are things that are going wrong in the country, if I don't like the way that we're going to war, or if I don't like the way our energy is being set up, I'm still locked into a job. And I can't go protest. I can't go and take civic action without some sort of significant barrier, a time suck, doing another job. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not advocating for not working. This is just throwing out a counter to this. Once you're tied into a job, even if it's a federal job, all jokes aside, right? Even if it's a federal job, you're locked in. So being able to just take off and go to Philly to protest during the DNC convention, or take off and go out to the pipelines on the Sioux reservations, even in those treated areas, right? You couldn't do that either. So there are some yin-yang things to the job guarantee that make it, you have to take thought that it does lock people in. Now, if you want to go and you want to get more training, for example, the federal government, if they spend their money properly and give you free education, at least you got that part taken care of. But if you're locked into a job and you have a family, it's very, very hard to go work a full-time job, come home, take care of your family, and then, by the way, do schooling out of hours. Now, mind you, I got 2 master's degrees doing it exactly that way. So it's not impossible. It's just quite difficult, and everybody's circumstances don't lend themselves to that. So I'm not one of those people who say, well, I carried 50 pounds of ice up 50 flights of stairs, blah, blah, blah. That's a bunch of bunk. But it is something to consider when you think about people that want to be more than what they are, when they want to step out of the federal job guarantee that they have and maybe start becoming something else. It does eliminate time that you could spend going to school. So looking at the basic income guarantee and looking at the job guarantee, what if we took and made a combination of the two? What if people that are in a situation where they're trying to go to school, instead of having to have a job as a federal job guarantee and work through it, what if, hypothetically, they were able to get a basic income guarantee as a student, and then when they graduate, 6 months later, they've got no debt because we don't pay taxes for spending, so we're giving them their free college. Now all of a sudden they enter into the workforce and they have choices. They can make more out of their life. They're not stuck. They can choose to do something that self-actualizes them, that they were born to do, that they're mentally wired to do. I don't know about you all, but there's nothing worse than going through the one ads, going through the classifieds, going through monster.com and all the other stuff, and looking for jobs that really don't fit your desires, your skill set, your environmental needs. But you need a job, right? So you take whatever's available. We could eliminate some of that. We could start putting people in more purposeful roles if we had an augment between the job guarantee that set the bar, like I said, for all the other private sector work. You can't lowball people below this level because they can always work for the federal government. So they have to elevate the standard of living for people. Now, the other thing that you hear, and there's some merit to this, the federal job guarantee is giving money for work. So there is a yin-yang to that, and that is that it's non-inflationary. You're giving people money for work. The basic income guarantee, when you look at that in just its purest state, is inflationary. That's something that could literally bring about a situation where the poor never ever stop being poor. They're always poor because you set the bar for what poverty is. And then everybody just stays stuck. Again, they've tried this in many places. There's some articles that I was reading in preparation for this, and I didn't do a deep dive because that really wasn't my goal. I just wanted to make sure I didn't say anything completely crazy here. But one of the things was, I think it was like in the 1600s, they had tried to do this, and they found that not only did the big disincentivize people to go back to work, which is one of the main components of the big, because they're assuming that people, as they get to a certain stage in life, aren't going to want to work. They're going to want to retire, and this would be like the offset to something like Social Security. This would be life security from cradle to grave if you need it. So there's some possibilities of putting that level into a basic income guarantee and a job guarantee. But they found that it was also quite inflationary, that people literally were miserable. And people want purpose in their life. And we find a lot of value and self-esteem in some of the work that we do. So wouldn't it be fantastic if the work we did was representative of our values, of our internal ethos, the thing that makes us who we are? If there was like a nice lack of dissonance, if we could find that kind of work. So I think that if you look at the basic income guarantee as possibly a replacement for Social Security on the long term, and maybe took the federal job guarantee as an offset to any unemployment, or and also forcing the private sector to respond to the needs of the workers, it's something that we could really look into. But for many, they don't realize still, even to this day, that federal taxes don't fund spending. So they'll say, well, how are you going to pay for it? They're going to say, well, I don't want my hard-earned tax dollars paying for nobody sitting behind a desk doing nothing. You know, and you're going to get old Huck always worrying about somebody shucking and jiving for a buck, right? You're always going to get somebody worried, they're going to get over on you. They're going to get over on you. Well, you know what? They get over on us anyway, right? Who gives a crap? I liken this to a French drain. If you're familiar with technology of a French drain, you realize that water is coming into your basement. You have a choice. You can bitch about it. You can whine about it. You can try and put clay injections around your house, or you can cut a small area around the area where the water comes in, and you can fill it with gravel, and you can fill it with tubing, corrugated tubing, and you can set a pump to push the water out of the house and say, we know some water is going to get in, we're just going to redirect it. Well, some people are going to get over. Who cares? We're just going to redirect that, okay? But I want you all to think about this stuff, because I don't think this is discussed. I go all over the place looking for this stuff. There's only a handful of places that talk about it. You know, I look at Roger Malcolm Mitchell. I look at the New Economics Perspective with, you know, J.D. Alt and L. Randall Wray and William Black and some of the others that write for them, Joe Firestone amongst others. And they write about this stuff. But you don't see it elsewhere. And when you do see it elsewhere, you see it written by people who really have an axe to grind, who are really into this Calvinistic thing, and who really still believe that taxes fund spending. And you all have to understand that literally, federal taxes don't fund spending. So it comes down to priorities. Would you like to see a federal job guarantee put in place to eliminate unemployment? To eliminate people being stuck, to raise the standard of living for all Americans? If you would, like I would, let's go ahead and help get a federal job guarantee out there. Jill Stein supports a federal job guarantee. Bernie Sanders supported a federal job guarantee. Stephanie Kelton supports a job guarantee. Warren Mosler supports a federal job guarantee. L. Randall Wray supports a federal job guarantee. So consider that people that are much smarter than you and I are already on top of this. If you want to be anti-establishment, if you want to be real edgy, right, then stop talking like Paul Krugman and realize Kruggles is there to protect the establishment. He's not there looking out for the 99%. He doesn't even care about the 99%. He's cashing checks for Hillary Clinton. He's part of the Democratic establishment. He's part of their media wing. He's like their go-to hired hand for economics. He's a shill. He's lost his validity in the space. He does understand modern monetary theory. And believe me when I say this, sometimes he's not quite sure that he did it, but sometimes he accidentally says the things that are right. Same with Stiglitz. James Stiglitz is a friggin' Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, this guy's a genius. But he still stumbles around. He still muddies the water with, understanding modern monetary theory, which is the description of federal financing and macroeconomics from 1971 to present. That's it. That's what MMT is. If you want to boil it down, it is a study of federal financing and economics from 1971 to present. Anything pre-1971, it doesn't really address. But it does, but that's not really its focus. So when you have that kind of power in your back pocket and you know that your hard-earned tax dollars aren't paying for Latifah's Obama phone, you can do a lot of things with that knowledge. And I think that it's very important that we support a federal job guarantee first and foremost. And then we look at ways of offsetting that with a basic income guarantee for people that want to check out of the employment world. This is Steve with Real Progressives, hoping you investigate further the federal job guarantee and modern monetary theory. Thanks.